Hello guys, welcome to Everybody Linux. This is Paolo, and today I want to speak about the boot directory. The boot directory, of course, related to the boot process. That is one of the most important processes in Linux. And yeah, so I prepared also a screenshot I will show you later. I'm inside my CentOS Linux system, the one that we'll use to explain you about something about the boot directory and show you the files. So what I want to show you now, guys, is a screenshot that resumes a little bit the boot sequence. I just prepared a screenshot here, as you see. So you know, guys, that the BIOS in this case, or the UEFI, depends on what you want to use, the firmware that basically searching the master boot record, the loader that is in charge of loading the kernel, and then the kernel we started executing the init files. Okay, so remember all of these, and these files are then able to load all the services, starting with systemd, that is the first process, and then we'll go to the run level that you decide which mode you use Linux, graphically or with the terminal, or you just multi-user with the network, without the network, etc., etc., and then you will have the user login. So resume basically the Linux boot sequence very, very easy. But what I want to speak about today is not about the boot sequence in itself, but the boot directory. I prepare here the login to my Linux system via SSH, where I'm logged now. And yeah, let's go back to our root directory. Okay, so guys, here the directory I want to speak about, the boot one. Now I will go into it. I will access into the boot directory. Okay, and I want to list it with the permission, everything, because it's better. So I go straight to the point. I don't want to, let's say, I want to speak soon about the content of this directory, because that's it's better to go to the file and focus on those. That's the scope of this video, basically. So the boot directory, remember, that is created only once during the initial installation, okay, of your Linux. So it's not recreated every time you boot your system. And then you have it for all the other boot process. That anytime you reboot the system, you have the same structure. Remember, it is the BIOS, as I said, that didn't initialize the hardware, or the UEFI, depending. And then the bootloader choose the grub2, in this case, choose the kernel from the boot, and then the kernel takes over, initialize all the drivers and service. So in summary, remember, this directory serves as the foundation of your booting Linux system, for booting your Linux system. That's it. And so let's delve into this directory. So I did ls ll, so L just to show the permission. This is, what are these? The first three files are the configuration files of the kernel. Remember, that's important. So these files store the configuration settings used during the compilation of the Linux kernel. So that's the most important thing to remember. As you see, guys, they are different. Why? Because they correspond simply to different versions of the kernel. So in this case, it depends on what we are using. Probably the last one, this one. And but anyway, they store all the previous kernel file. They are remaining here. So if we, for example, if you update, and they determine which features, drivers, and options are enabled in the kernel. So basically, this one determines how your kernel is, say, is structured. Let's say that's it. So in this case, we have also the EFI directory, because we use UEFI as a method of booting instead of BIOS. So the UEFI firmware has created this as a search in this EFI folder, and it will load the bootloader. In this case, this EFI folder contains exactly all the extensible the files related to this EFI folder for the boot process. So it contains all the files that are used for booting the UEFI compatible system. So in this case, we are using EFI. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. And the other folder is the directory is the grub2 directory, holds the configuration in files instead, and modules for the grub2 bootloader. So the basically configuration files, okay, for the bootloader. Remember that grub2 is responsible for presenting the boot menu, so loading the kernel. So that's what you use to load the kernel. If you have another system in dual boot, you can use the grub2 to boot either system or Linux or Windows, for example. So that's a bootloader that is located in the FE sector of the hard disk, the FE folder, the FE. It's where it's searched by the UEFI the UEFI firmware. So remember that the grab2 is responsible for that, for loading the kernel. That's its main function. What we have here are the initram fs files. Those are the images simply of the images of the initial RAM disk. What they contain is essential driver and utilities that are needed to mount the root file system during the early boot. So basically, they are related. Remember the initial RAM disk images are related to the file system, how your file system will be. So determine the file system of your Linux operating system. As you see, they're related to different type of kernel as well. Like before, you have different ones. Okay, so remember this. Then we have the another thing, the kernel symbol version. These ones, what are? Store important information about symbol version used by kernel. So maintain compatibility between kernel modules and kernel. So they are basically to ensure the compatibility. Okay, so in case you change, something is changed inside, so they always have to be compatible. This file helps about this, help for that. Then we have the system map files. Those one are basically the files that provide a map of the kernel symbols, function variables, and their memory addresses as well. What they are used, guys, remember that those files, those simmers are always used, basically contained with a symbolic link, as you see from here, L, the symbolic link, because stands for L, stands for link. So basically they are used for they're using for sorry for sorry, I was speaking the system map file, pardon. These system map files are used for providing a map of kernel symbols. Okay, as I say, they are used for debugging and analyzing kernel related issues. So those files are for analyzing and debugging. Remember always this. And here we go, guys. Now we have the most important part of the boot directory, that is that are the vim linux files. So what is this? It is the kernel. This is the kernel. So basically, here you have the kernel file. So the core of your operating system, the brain. So when the bootloader, you start the process of the bootloader will load this, and that's why you can use Linux. So is basically the most important part of Linux. So if you don't have this, you don't have you can't even enter into the system. You don't have anything. You don't have anything here. And so Linux is built onto this. Okay, remember that. So this is in green. This is the most important file in Linux boot directory. So guys, because all these files work for these files. Okay, so yeah, so I hope this video has been useful for you. I hope you learned something, and if you want to contribute to the video, add any comment, please do it. We are here all to learn. Add your feedback, and if you don't like, if you like it, if something we can improve together. We are a community, as I said, and I want to learn as well to improve my knowledge, and that's it. So that's the main idea of Linux, huh? In the end, to contribute all together. Okay, guys, thank you very much. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, please do it. Or anyway, thanks for watching and have a good day.